Carrie Lake, over the weekend at CPAC, actually won a straw poll of who those attendees at CPAC would like to see as Donald Trump's vice president as he runs again in 2024. Now, Trump obviously won the straw poll by more than 60% as their choice for president. So after that, it's like, okay, who do you want to be vice president? And there were 28 choices. So, of course, the vote gets severely diluted, but Carrie Lake somehow emerged at the top of that list with 20% of the vote. So, she didn't get 80% of the vote, but hey, not getting a majority of the votes is something Carrie Lake is used to at this point. But nevertheless, her team got on Twitter and offered the dumbest excuse possible as to why she cannot be Trump's running mate in 2024. And that reason is, quote, "We're flattered, but unfortunately our legal team says the Constitution won't allow her to serve as governor and VP at the same time." So, Carrie Lake seems to still be laboring under the delusion that when all is said and done, she's going to be governor of Arizona. Now, I've talked about Carrie Lake at length. I would love to never have to speak of her again. But I think we might be beyond the point where she's grifting, and we may be traipsing along into delusional territory. I mean, it's possible the campaign sent out this message as kind of a, wink and a nod, like, oh, we're still fighting because we kind of have to at this point. We've gone all in on this lie. Or it may be because they genuinely believe that. And if it's the latter, then that's a problem, right? That's not a grift, that's a symptom. And that would require the work of professionals to get her to overcome those delusions that she may or may not be suffering from, depending on whether or not she believes her own lies. I mean, she's been repeatedly smacked down by literally every court she has brought her claims to. She has been sanctioned by the court. Her lawyers have been sanctioned by the court. She got smacked down again, I think it was last week. She's almost out of options here. And I understand, as I've said before, if she's keeping this up just to stay in the limelight of the Republican Party, that makes sense. I don't agree with it, and I think it's still wrong, obviously, but it makes sense, right? You don't want to fade into obscurity in politics because then you don't exist anymore. And if she gives up the fight, what does she do? I mean, as far as I can tell, she doesn't have a job, so she just becomes another unemployed former Republican candidate that has to go out there and update her LinkedIn profile to try to find work. That doesn't seem like fun, does it? But that's what she would be reduced to. Groveling for a job again because she has nothing left to fall back on. But as long as she keeps fighting this, she gets to remain in the limelight. Hell, that's why she was invited to CPAC. Y'all brought on a loser to speak, and then your crowd voted for the loser to be the VP because she's just like a mini Trump. The two really are two peas in a pod. There isn't a whole heck of a lot of daylight between them in terms of duping people into believing their idiotic lies. And they've both paid a massive price for the lies that they have told. Because you can lie to the public all you want, but when you start lying to the courts, that's when the sanctions fly. That's when you get fined. And both Trump and Carrie Lake have been hit with those kinds of sanctions and fees. So it would make sense for her to be his running mate, but as she says, she can't do it because she'll be too busy being the governor of a state that rejected her. And even though there's no legal mechanism to undo that election, especially because her Democratic opponent, Katie Hobbs, has already been sworn in, for 2 months now. So it's really over, Carrie. And maybe it's time you drop this grift before more people start having the same thoughts that I do, which is that this isn't a con job anymore, but symptoms of delusions. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.